Something I've been telling you guys for a long time on this channel is we can send all the money and arms in the world to Ukraine, but we can't make new Ukrainians. And I've said that in the long run, if Russia is determined to fight and win, they will win just as a pure war of attrition. My friends, I've been validated. I've been saying this for a long time. I have now been validated. I've had people argue with me. No. I've been validated. The Ukrainians are now saying they're running out of reserves. They are running out. They're having huge problems finding manpower to continue the battle as Russia's just amassed 500,000 new troops and about to go in for what's thought is going to be the summer offensive. Russia is about to really move. They've just taken about 100 square miles of Ukraine, so they are moving on Ukrainians right now. Zelensky has canceled all his trips abroad and went back home because of the dire situation that his country is facing there. My friends, it may be time for Zelensky to face the music and negotiate a peace treaty. That's my point on this. So we'll see what you guys think about this. I am going to bring up the chat room now. This is late live. People ask me all the time, are you going live? I wish you would quit asking me that because it's very difficult to know. I spend hours trying to get these videos prepared, and often I don't make it. So it just takes a lot to do this. A lot of people just don't appreciate what effort goes in it. So let's go straight into the news now. Sorry for my little tirade there, but let's go into the news. This takes hours of production to pull off. All right, I got to do this share. And we're going to go right here. And here it is. Let's skip that. Here is the comment from General Budanov, General Krylo Budanov. He is the Kyiv's military intelligence, head of Kyiv's military intelligence. He says, I've used everything we have. I've used everything we have. Unfortunately, we don't have anyone else in the reserves. Let me repeat that. Unfortunately, we don't have anyone else in the reserves. I've used everything we have. So there you are, guys. So, and this article says this grim news paints a bleak picture, especially as Ukrainian forces begin to pull back from some embattled areas as they have fought the Russians tooth and nail for others. And to take this up to the top, here's the headline. Ukraine says it has no reserves as Putin amasses 500,000 troops for summer offensive. So guys, I kid you not, I don't make this stuff up. I only got 28 in the chat room. I may have to re-show this article in the future. This was something when I saw it, I go, wow, I need to show this. So the only reason I probably went live tonight, we're coming here so late, I almost didn't do it. I have been struggling for hours. It takes so much to do these programs, guys. There's been many nights that I spent hours of effort to go live and didn't do it. Just couldn't do it. It's almost too late to do this. But anyway, guys, but this was such breaking news and reinforcing what I've been saying for a long time. I thought I was going to get it out here to you guys. Okay. So this is it. Hey, we got quite a few people in the room still. A lot of our regular followers, Sasquatch, Moon, Rodney, all the sun. Of course, new days from all the way up in Maine. It's morning time up there, almost sunrise. Michelle Young, thank you for that link. Wow, we got a lot of night owls in here tonight. Russia takes 100 square miles of Ukrainian territory in a week. They did it at great expense. A lot of people say, oh, they're losing because they lost 1,700 people. Excuse me? That sounds a lot like in the Vietnam War. We were winning because we got all those body counts from McNamara. They used to, every day on the news, there was always a body count in the war. And just a few Americans, a lot of the Vietnamese, we were winning. Oh, I remember those days from when I was a kid listening to that. You know what? We lost. So that is not an accurate testament of the state of the war. Russia has historically lost great numbers in all their wars, often far more than their adversaries, but they win because they fight a war of attrition. Rodney Middleton, thank you, sir. I appreciate that. That's what makes it worth doing. I am most appreciative, Rodney. That's super chats. That's what keeps me going, guys. But Russia takes 100 square miles of Ukrainian territory. Does that sound like Russia's losing? When Ukraine is saying we got no reserves, and Russia's putting 500,000 men on the border. I just saw articles in the past day. I saw their YouTube channels. Oh, Ukraine is winning, Russia's losing, and they use the body count as an example. Excuse me, wrong answer. Dead wrong answer. If that's what you think, then you don't know military history, especially as regards Russia. All right. Does that mean Russia will win? No, it's not a foregone conclusion, but boy, it sure looks like they got an upper hand, especially in a war of attrition. The only way they don't win is if NATO can come in force. Now, I hear people talk about all our technological superiority. That stuff's good for the first couple of weeks of battle until you use all those high-tech weapons. Then what do you got? Oh, I've heard people, oh, well, the total NATO forces are yay big. I think I got an article on that too. Well, you know what? Like they count all the United States forces. The United States forces are spread all over the world. We can't put all our forces in Europe. And furthermore, yeah, don't discount the idea that Russia couldn't roll to Paris if they wanted to. If they really wanted to. They want to. I doubt it, but they could, probably. In any event, some people may not buy that, but that's fine. Russia has got 500,000 troops are putting on the border. Their troops are battle hardened. Western troops, with the exception of some Americans, a few other forces that spend a lot of time in Afghanistan, are not. So let's move forward. It might be a good time to consider some prepping supplies. You can go to prepwithgreg.com. We got a $200 special off a 3-month emergency supply. And if you click on My Patriot Supply, you'll find a lot of other specials in there, other deals if you don't want the food. But you better consider some water purification in some fashion. Water purification and sanitization. You purify water, it's getting all the crud out, and you sanitize it, which is killing the bugs. 2 different steps. Sometimes purifying will get the bacteria, but not the viruses. That's something a lot of folks don't tell you. I tell you that. Okay, guys. Now, here's the good news. Putin claims he's got readiness for peace talks. But he wants security guarantees for Russia. You know, that's what he asked for before he started the invasion. Now, all those security guarantees were unacceptable to NATO, like all the former Warsaw countries that were NATO would not host troops from other NATO nations, and quite a few other things that NATO found unacceptable. But maybe they don't have to go to that degree. That was his going in proposition. Nobody tried to negotiate with him. You know, and a lot of people are afraid, well, you know, negotiating a peace with Putin is rewarding him for his bad behavior in invading Ukraine. Well, so far, what he holds is the Donbass area of Ukraine and Crimea, which are primarily Russian anyway. Those areas want to be with Russia. I believe a region should have the right to determine who they go with. Any region anywhere in the world should have the right to determine if they want to be part of a bigger government or not, including Quebec, including quite a few other little regions around the world that would like to be different, not within the bigger government they're in. I've always been a big supporter of that because I believe in freedom. I don't believe anybody owns anybody. If you know what you're hearing is Ukraine is believing that they own the people in eastern Ukraine because they want that region that's so resource rich. That's slavery. That's a modern form of slavery. When any people, majority of the nation, think they own a certain other part of that nation that don't want to be part of them, how's that different from slavery? But anyway, so my going in point is if you get a peace treaty right now and Ukraine's still intact, then Russia still got to go through that before they go through the rest of Europe. So everybody else in Europe is worried that Russia's going to go through their countries. Well, you get a peace treaty there, then you at least got a bulwark to guard against that. New Days, just because. Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you, New Days. I appreciate that. Salute to you. All righty. So there we are, guys. They need to pick this up see, the problem, the sticking point for Zelensky is he don't want to give up Donbass and Crimea. Give it up, Zelensky. You're going to lose your whole country. Would you rather lose your country or lose areas in your country that don't want to be part of your country in the first place? It's time for a peace treaty. Stop the carnage on both sides. Stop the carnage. The carnage is horrendous on both sides. Stop it. Stop the carnage. The whole world is at risk of sliding into World War III because you want to maintain territory that you should not have in the first place. Donbass should not be part of Ukraine. That is my point. And if you don't like that, kiss my foot. The people there don't want to be part of Ukraine. So, and I know that'll make a lot of people spitting mad. Fine. Is it worth risking World War III over? Let's get y'all's voting. If y'all think that Ukraine recapturing Crimea and Donbass is worth the risk of World War III and us spending, hundreds of billions of dollars over there, put a 1 in the chat room if you think it's worth that. If you don't think it's worth that, put a 2 in the chat room. I'd like to see what y'all think about it. Y'all tell me for a change. Let's see what y'all think. If you think that it's worth risking World War III to support Ukraine grabbing back Donbass and Crimea, if you think it's worth all the billions we're spending, put a 1 in the chat room. If you don't, put a 2. Hey, Alan Jensen, good to see you. Thank you for sharing all the appreciation for the channel. Thank you, sir. Well, I'm seeing a lot of 2s. A lot of people just don't think it's worth risking World War III over, holding and possessing an area that don't want to be part of the alleged possessor. Borders are not sacred. You got a lot of people in certain government, especially big government, states, agencies that we consider deep, who will tell you that they'll tell you that these other borders are sacred, but not our border. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that not interesting? All these other borders are sacred, but ours are not. Logo 69. 1993, I chaired a space defense conference that year. So we're getting a lot of 2s. I hadn't seen any 1s. Interesting. Yeah, it just, our leaders are losing their mind supporting this. In my humble opinion, they've lost their minds supporting and pushing that. Europe could have peace. This carnage could end. The European countries will not have to worry about Russia immediately rolling up. They still had to go through Ukraine. And Ukraine could still exist, maybe in a smaller form. At least a part that would exist would be the part of Ukraine that wants to be Ukraine. What's wrong with that? What is wrong with that? Hey, VidCom, how you doing? What in the world is wrong with that? Holy guac and smoke-a-moly. And Putin reveals the latest 40-foot nuke missile that can launch from hidden subs and carries 10 warheads. I think each missile carries 10 warheads, or MIRV. That's what it's trying to say here. It's the article isn't so clear here, but yeah. So they've got their new missile and they got their new sub, and they call it the Shepter. I don't know. Anyway, so it's or what the Russians call it's the Volva. So why don't we give a different name to it? Something that's still even hard for us to pronounce. I can say Volva easier than I can say Shepter. Anyway, guys, so well, it's been alleged that the Russians got some submarines off the coast of Sacramento firing missiles in that direction for test purposes. Well, all I know is there's allegedly been some NOTAMs, notice to seamen filed, maybe some notice to airmen. That might be the indication of some activity, but if they're going through the process of filing notices to seamen and airmen, that says they're not really conducting a surprise attack. It's just a message. It's a warning shot. So I think that's all we need to say about that. That apparently is not an attack. You wouldn't do a surprise attack and say, "Oh yeah, we're going to be shooting missiles, kind of, sort of in your direction," but it's just a test. I don't know. Could be, but that's not too likely. You want to start a surprise attack. You're not going to say dink them, right? Now, this is from older source here, Rishi Sunak warned the world is closer to a dangerous nuclear escalation at any point since the Cuban Missile Crisis. I don't think that's really news. I think we all realize that. So he's now coming out warning that, huh? Come on, guys. Where you been? And a lot of people think that this promotion of Andriy, what's his name? Andriy Belousov to become the head of defense for Russia is a sign with the firing of not firing, well, the removal of Shoigu from head of defense over to the Security Council. He wasn't absolutely fired; he was repositioned. But a lot of people see this that Putin may extend a special military operation beyond Ukraine, war with NATO. Well, that could be. He's certainly preparing for that eventuality. We still got some people voting too. Well, very good. Hey, Brenda. All right. Fair dinkum, mate. Ray, do you think Putin will stop once he pushes into Ukraine? That's a good question. And a lot of it depends on how the West reacts. If the West reacts resolve and stands up at the border without putting troops in the border, maybe not. But as we slip more and more stuff into Ukraine, I think the probability for escalation is higher. Now, some people think that the West has got to do that to keep it from pushing forward. How about a peace treaty instead? How about a peace treaty? Good grief. Oh, well, he won't honor it. Well, and if you don't honor it, you're no worse off than you are right now. At least it would give Ukraine a little room, and Ukraine needs more breathing space than Russia because Russia's just amassed 500,000 troops. They're ready to roll. Maybe Russia won't want a peace treaty at this point. I can see a point in the near future if they're rolling, they're going to say, nah, we don't need a peace treaty. Ukraine is ours. And they could take the Baltic states. And what's NATO really going to do if they take the Baltic states or Moldova, which is not a NATO nation? What I would, if you look at the history, what the ancient czars, Peter the Great, and what's her name? I'm getting brain locked right now. Peter the Great and the woman czar, Catherine the Great. Peter the Great and Catherine the Great and all the big Russian czar leadership ever since then, to include up into the days of the communists, they all wanted to control a vast stretch of land ahead of Russia and seal the gaps north and south of the Carpathian Mountains. They considered the Carpathian Mountains a natural barrier to invasion from Europe. Russia's been invaded 55 times. Even though we think it's not likely, they're paranoid about it. They are, the whole thing where they conflicted with Germany and WWII is still seared in their consciousness because they lost many millions of their people there in that conflict. Many, many, many millions. It was a huge hit for Russia. They don't forget that. I was in Russia in March of 2010. I went to a Russian opera, in the building where they hold their Parliament, Congress, whatever you want to call it. And they had that opera there, which was a celebration of beating the Germans, and I won't say the N-A-Z word there, but in WWII. Yeah. And it was hugely attended. I mean, there was huge lines to get in there. Yeah, I had tickets to it. That's in advance, well in advance. That's how I got into it. But, gosh, they're still really obsessed with that. And I don't think NATO would be invading, would invade Russia, not unless, all this stuff goes south. But the Russians don't see it that way. And they know that due to their drop in demographics, this may be their last best chance to secure these borders out for the long range because Eastern Europe's just a flat plain. Tanks could roll fast. Once you get past those choke points, Russia could be wide open. And so that's what they're worried about. And we got a couple of Alaskans in here. So we got Meg Rosen saying, howdy, Alaska. Are you saying howdy to another Alaskan, or are you just saying your howdy from Alaska? Anyway, good having you here, Meg Rosen. So what do you think, Alan Meyer Jensen? That's the Russian perspective. I'm not saying it's right. It's not right. It's not right to have to possess other people, once again, to obtain your security. That's what they've done historically over and over and over again. Well, most of you Eastern Europe resents that bitterly. Bitterly. I'm just explaining to you what the Russian perspective is. It's not the right thing to do, but to them it is. So there you go. That's part of why we are where we are. We should have negotiated a peace treaty with Russia before this stuff ever happened, because they're being driven into the lap of the dragon. And I'm going to show you what the dragon is already licking her chops and considering taking Siberia. So I'll show you a bit on that in a moment. So just hang on. Not right, sir. Well, thank you, Ellen Jensen. Nobody has the right to force another group or people to be part of them against their will. That is slavery. And we got all kind of slavery in the world today. But it's saying, hey, Russia is about to do their shock, basically their little shock and all assault. And within the next 1.5 months, well, I think it's already kind of sort of started, but they hadn't poured the full force of those 500,000 troops in yet. And here we are, significant retreat from Ukraine. Zelensky cancels his trips and goes home to take care of matters there. So Ukraine is in a tight. I'm seeing so many channels out there talking about Ukraine's great victory. I've seen those articles and videos posted today. You got to be kidding me. Anyway, well, Vladimir Putin, Pooty Poot, is over in China meeting with Xi Jinping, and they are deepening their alliance, as you might imagine. But there may be more to it. I'll check my PayPal here in a little bit there, Michelle, once I get through the news. As you know, if anybody's donating to me in PayPal, I will give you credit shortly. Just hang on. China must fast the fact to recall. Here we are. China must act fast to reclaim lost territories from Russia. Now, it's referring to a treaty. Well, the Russians beat the Chinese back in the Tsarist days, and the Soviets, when they first took power, kind of promised they would return those territories to China. But those territories were territories around the border and included Vladivostok, what's the Vladivostok today, a very Russian port city, which Russia will not want to give up. And yet, it did not include Siberia. But what this article is claiming as lost territories is Siberia. All the eastern parts of Russia. I kid you not. China will rob from their friends. China takes everything around them. China is a bully. This is why Russia did not want to be forced in. The bear did not want to be forced into the lap of the dragon. But that's what we've done. We have pushed the bear into the lap of the dragon. And the long-term biggest enemy of Russia is China. Communist China, that is. If China went free, probably wouldn't be a problem. But Putin knows he's got a bigger problem, a more immediate problem, and China's helping him out. But there may be a price tag for that. So get that, guys. So they're saying that the May 31st, 2024 will be the 100th anniversary of the treaty between the USSR and China, in which the USSR basically said they would return some land to China. Didn't happen. That's why they needed that naval base. And they said early in their establishment, but they went back on it. You can't trust communists. Communists can't trust communists either. We came close to having a major war between Russia and China back when I was a young lad. In the 70s, I believe, early 70s. I have to go back and look at that and get to more precise date on that. But So they're talking about this Karakan Manifesto. That's what they call it. So there's an understatement. Life in Hong Kong is full of stress. The people there are very unhappy because they've been forced into being submitted to the Chinese Communist Party, or something Taiwan don't want. Yeah, the Soviet government specifically mentioned Siberia. Now they talked about those parts, Manchuria, not all of Siberia. But somewhere in this article, they referred to the entirety of Siberia. Where was I don't know if I can. I don't. You got to be careful scrolling through stuff. You can get a. I don't want to get a strike, so I won't dwell there anymore. Anywho, Russia assault troops suffer major losses. About, I would say 70% of casualties, according to this article. Yeah, they've taken some big hits, but they keep going. Russia is willing to take the hits. That's how they fight wars. They've taken a lot of hits in this war, and they're still going. They're still growing. They're growing their forces in spite of all that. And there's no major protest in Russia. Of course, Russia is something of a totalitarian country, but still, you're not seeing as much resistance as you might think for something like that. But, Russia isn't the only theater we got to pay attention to. I've always said one of the most dangerous people in the world is little Kim Jong-un, because the guy lives in a fantasy land, and his mind, his worldview is very warped, and he's got nukes. And here we go. Here's a new one that's been coming. Chinese Communist Party is linked to organization responsible for these protests that we've had in our colleges. The CCP wouldn't be trying to undermine America by amping up divisions here at home, would they? Of course they would. So we got a Communist Party organizer as part of these riots, who has actually confessed that they're begging for a revolution. Wow. According to that article. And, the party that accuses T-Man of potentially destroying democracy, what are they doing? They have been using the full force of the federal government in politicized activities, which should be illegal as all get out. We got the Hatch Act, was supposed to stop that kind of mess, and look what they've been doing. Now, on top of that, now we got a Democrat donor spent $80 million to silence Americans. Oh yeah, he paid Rumble also. So everybody thinks Rumble is a great platform for free speech. Maybe not for long. He put money in the coffers of Rumble to squelch speech. I don't know how that's going to play out, but we shall see. And of course, 148 House Democrats voted against the bill to deport migrants who assaulted police. As I reported the last time on here, the judge kicked out all charges against the ones who rioted and attacked Texas Guard, U.S. troops, basically, on the border. That's okay. They can attack our troops. They can attack our police. They can riot. They can damage property. That's okay. But if you walk peaceably through the halls of Congress after the D.C. police open the doors and usher you in, I've seen the videos where they're waving to them. The videos are out there of that. You might be in serious trouble. A lot of people are behind bars for some of those activities. But the Department of Homeland Security is more worried about the privacy rights of terrorists on watch list than the public's right to know. You shouldn't know what kind of people, terrorists, are in this country. Maybe you shouldn't know where they're at, who they're aligned with. It's okay for them, these guys who broke our laws to come in our country illegally and are on the terrorist watch list, That's okay. They got rights of privacy. What rights do illegals that are potential terrorists have? Why do they have rights? Where's our rights? If you think this is appropriate, put a 3 in the chat room. If you think this is upside down, put a 4 in the chat room. I just, I'm just some poor dumb rocket scientist, but this just don't make sense to me. What can I say? But who am I? Just some poor dumb rocket scientist. This don't make any sense to me. Jeez, especially when I'm worried about our infrastructure here, sleeper cells, and the damage that can be done, and the way our borders are thrown wide open, and we're getting so little vetting of the people crossing. Of course, why would they let all these people in? Yeah, censorship. That's right, Alan Mayer Johnson. Wow, I'm seeing a lot of force. Censorship. Over 100 non-citizens registered to vote in Midwest state for an American Military News. In Ohio. Ohio. If you think that's something, that's the ones we know about. If you think that's something, how about this? 500 non-citizens registered to vote in D.C. I just saw articles just a couple of days ago saying, oh, they cannot vote. They're not citizens. They cannot vote. Well, if that's so, how come there's a pamphlets being passed out to them south of the border telling them how to vote, how to do this stuff, how to do these things? I don't know, guys. Is this strange? These are kind of comments that can get me on all kind of trouble here on this platform. I got to be careful. But this are the articles. A hearing is over non-citizens vote. The hearing is over non. This is a hearing. This is a hearing going on right now over non-citizens voting in U.S. elections and foreign interference. This is a hearing before the House committee, in fact. So I don't know. This platform probably don't want me to talk about proceedings of the government. Who knows? Reports on it. Now, this is a topic I got to be extremely sensitive with. Oh, we got stuff popping up here. This pan-problematic treaty of the OHW. I'll just say it backwards. Guys, this is the chairman, Dr. Tedros, right here. He's got heads that organization. What they're trying to get is for a treaty passed that would say you got no rights. That organization you're in could decide what you got to do by treaty. Treaty is considered above the Constitution. Waive all your rights. Oh, you got to roll up your sleeve. You got to stay home. You can't leave your house. Imagine where this could lead. War criminal. There you go, Alan Mayer Jensen. Where could this lead? See, they didn't get to pull everything off quite the way they wanted to last time. So now they're trying to up the ante. Guys, go to freedomrestorationfoundation.org. Go to the Action Center. Scroll down until it shows you how to contact your Congress critters. Call them up and chew their ears over this. Tell them, no way. Especially the Senate. The Senate has to ratify these treaties. Call your senators. Tell them, no way. Wow. Where are we going as a society? Oh, and all the stuff they told us didn't happen. This didn't happen. That didn't happen. This is wrong. Fact checkers confirm you are wrong. Fact checkers confirm your channel is at risk now. You can be banned, shut down, blah, 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 blah. Well, you know what? What's the accuracy of those fact checkers? What the heck did they get right at all? Yes, we did. This is congressional testimony. Wuhan. Gain of function research. This is the doctor whose name rhymes with Alchi, his organization, which he just finally stepped down from, the NIH. Finally having to admit it before congressional testimony. And we have a Congress lady, Marionette Miller Meeks, Republican Ohio, talking about the guy's testimony. And she said it reminded her of President Clinton's paraphrasing of it all depends on what the definition of is. Y'all remember that? It all depends on what the definition of is. Yeah, that's what she said. This sort of sounds like what the definition of is. This is when, and James Comer was grilling them too. So what do y'all think? But these people get away with all kind of stuff. You can be an illegal immigrant. You can tear up border fences, destroy property, and attack the National Guard units of Texas. But if you exercise a constitutional right, which the Constitution says shall not be abridged, and you buy legal components, you can order of the mail and assemble them, you can be sent to prison. This guy was sentenced to a decade of prison for having an unlicensed nug. Dexter Taylor. And they consider him a violent felon now. And he's never committed any violence in his life. See a smiling mug? Hey, you know, what do we come and call him a violent person just because he exercised his constitutional right? Holy guac and smoke 'em holy. And for those that don't know, the Pelican Bridge was hit by a barge. Yes, on the 16th. To me, it's still today, although the clock has ticked past midnight, so that we're in tomorrow. It's now Friday. This happened. Actually, this happened on the 15th. It was updated on the 16th. Yeah, this happened the day before yesterday. Another barge. I got a lady I want to try to put on this channel. She's one of the world's top cyber experts, and she has a lot of evidence suggesting that when the Baltimore Harbor Bridge was struck, it was foul play. That's all I'm going to say. Not sure how much we're going to bring on here. But check this out. Here's your next item. Humanoid robot could be yours for just $16,000. An actual humanoid robot. Cheaper than most cars. A humanoid robot. You can have your own, and this is it, jumping and doing high kicks. And this is from a Chinese manufacturer known as Unitree. They're saying you can train it for all kind of things. And they got another robot. Freak robot made in China can learn, think, and work like humans. This is a different robot here from a different company, and it's their so-called S1 model. And this company is Astrobot. So Astrobot and Unitree are both pulling out ahead of Tesla's. Apparently, you know, he's got the what do you call it? Something Prime, you know, Optimus or Maximus Prime or something like that, named after, I guess, the characters in Transformers, kind of, sort of, or something sounds similar to that. Only roadway the island's 9,000 people. Hey, all the sun, how you doing? All the sun, I'm Allison. Salute you. All righty. So now 16,000 is interesting. Let me stop and share for a minute. Let's just chat about this for a minute. Because there's a lot to say about the robotization that China is bringing up. Hey, Brenda, yeah, wow, these robots. The robotic technology is growing fast. AI technology is growing fast. A little over a year ago, if you tried to do an AI video, it looked crummy. AI pictures look crummy, but today they're lots better. Light years better. Some of the video you couldn't tell from real video. And a little over a year ago, it was hilarious. It was just hilarious. It was stupid looking. It was just hilarious. And today, different ball game. The robotics are advancing fast. So, so it can turn against you. It might. Because the real problem is most of these robots, to have their artificial intelligence, are connected to that artificial intelligence program out on a server. There's already some people claiming that the next version of Chat GPT is going to be installed on your phone, unbeknownst to you, and will be able to. You could actually query it and ask it questions like, "What's in my room? What's around me? What's about to happen?" But it's also surveilling your home inside. Oh yeah, and everybody can know what you got inside your own home. Remember that little tenant from "You Will Own Nothing and You'll Be Happy"? Well, one of the tenants is also "You'll have no privacy and you'll be happy." We're going to know everything in your home, everything you do. We're going to know when you sneeze and pick your nose and whatever else. Where's this going? Well, that robot will do the same thing in all likelihood. On the other hand, it's suddenly going to be very attractive. Now, they show them folding clothes, and one of those robots was shown peeling the cucumber. Okay, those are highly dexterous tasks. But they have to be trained for those tasks. You can't just tell it, "Hey, go outside and slop the pigs." If it runs into a problem or something it's not in its program and encounters it, it won't be able to deal with it. Even if you train them to do a task, if there's a issue thrown in the middle of it, they probably won't know how to deal with it right now. So you couldn't just turn them loose on the farm and expect them to work as a regular farm worker or hired hand. In a factory where all the tasks are repetitive, oh yeah, maybe in a kitchen setting where there's repetitive tasks. I could see them. McDonald's, hey, all you guys that just thought y'all got a $20 an hour pay raise from this new minimum wage in California, bye-bye. Because $8 an hour times 2,080 hours exceeds 16,000. Just about a little bit. In fact, 2080 is the regular work hours in a week, in a work year, right? So 2080 times 8 is 16,640, probably about your taxes. Now, I've paid a lot of money for labor out here, and what's my hired hands stole things, broke things, lost things, and didn't do their jobs. Not most of them. You get a good one every now and then, but the vast majority aren't worth hiring. And some people have told me, "Okay, it's because you paid $8 on it." Well, I paid some of the worst work I got was some people I paid probably 2.5 times that too. I had to tear it down and start over. And some of my lower wage guys fixed some of the stuff the higher wage people messed up. So it's not a function of what you pay them. I've already had experience with that quite a bit. It's just what's in the heart of people. And a lot of your wage grades people these days have been, they're on drugs and things like that. A lot of them are. Some of them pull out of it, and some of them start doing good for themselves. I know a couple that have pulled out of it. One tried to, and he reverted when his mom died, and he's no longer with us because of the Chinese stuff crossing the border called fentanyl. The guy was trying to fly straight, trying to do good. And he had a little relapse. His mom died. He was remorse. He did not survive it. Yeah. So it's getting, when you're losing over 100,000 people a year in this country, sooner or later it's going to be people you know. So that's getting close to home. That's a tragedy. But in any event, so these robots, you know, if I could train them to do stuff out here, hey, it would be a bargain, huge bargain. Just have a robot, and that robot would do the work of three. As it could work 24 hours, except for the time it had to stop and get recharged. At least do the work of two. So it wouldn't be 8 hours. That's you spend $16,000 on it, you're getting at least $32,000 in labor. As long as there ain't something you don't mind for Xi Jinping seeing. Oh, this is Wow's farms laid out. This is a factory or a hamburger joint. Who cares? Especially a hamburger joint. Rodney, I'm a redhead, and I'd get up fast with my sarcasm. Oh, move down under. Trying to get you to move out under, living off bread, disconnect from outside the world. Sound better to me. There you go, new days. So here's the other aspect of this. You got Peter Zion. Peter Zion is one of the world's top so-called geopolitical analysts. He looks at demographics and things like that, and what resources nations have, and all those key factors, how they're moving toward how their industries are set up, what the nations are capable of. And he's made the pronouncement that China will fail in 10 years. I disagree. And the reasons I disagree, and I've talked about this before, are one, China's Belt and Roads Initiative is making inroads where they're pulling resources and from other countries. Two, the BRICS that they've set up. China's getting highly networked in the world. And three, roboticization. Their demographic people population may be collapsing, but robots, to some degree, and other means of automation, AI, may supplant that and do so just enough to keep them afloat. Just like how drones have been the big game changer in war over the past couple of years. Drones. And drones are getting, at one time all your drones had somebody behind them flying them. Well, now we got AI drones. AI is flying the drones. We just had a F-16 piloted by a AI program doing dogfights with an F-35, not shooting real missiles. But the Navy doesn't tell us how that, the Air Force, will not tell us how that came out. They will not tell us the results of that. Is that spooky? No robots. Well, the robots are coming whether we like it or not. Starter Mouse says it will fall in 5 years. That'd be nice in many ways. But, the people over there are probably tired of the government. But on the other side, look what the government did to the people under Mao Zedong. His great leap forward, a great step forward. He starved tens of millions of his own people on a couple of different occasions. Numbers far exceeding anything the H-man in Germany in the 1930s and 40s did to the Jewish people. His very own people. So the people over there will take a lot of crap before they do something. Don't mean eventually they won't. I'd love to see China as a free nation. And maybe we'll see that one day, maybe not too distant future. But just to dismiss them as Peter Zion has done is a bit premature. H. Lemons, I don't need a robot. I have a husband of 36 years. He is trained just right. Well, you're a most fortunate one. Anytime you can keep a mate for 36 years, especially if you feel like they're trained just right, you're on top of the game. None of us is George Jetson, and robots won't be Sweet Rosie. Not likely, especially when they're controlled by software out on a server somewhere else. That robot, like Alexi. Do you trust Alexi in your house? Well, Alexis, what do they call it? Mm-mm-mm. Even your phone is listening to what you say. It's amazing it hadn't hauled me away. I could come up with a rap one on that. My phone is listening to what I say. It's amazing they haven't hauled me away. Kind of like they're coming to take me away. Ha ha, they're coming to take me away. Hee ha ho to the funny farm. Remember that one? All righty, let's go back into the news. I just want to stop and talk about that one a minute. It merited some discussion on more than one level. And talking about surveillance, Americans should be frightened about Congress surveillance reauthorization. Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. The Reforming Intelligence and Securing Act, Securing America Act. They released Securing America, securing themselves, passed by Congress last month. Yeah, that's not securing us, it's securing their hold on things. That's about all it really does. And if that don't get you, I guess Klaus of the House of Klaus ought to be thrilled. This is The Independent is a UK newspaper. Calls for insects to be added to processed food to remove the disgust factor. Let's just start slipping it in. Let people start eating their favorite processed foods. And they discovered they've been eating bugs all along. They go, okay, yeah, let's go have a cockroach steak dinner. Cucaracha dinner. Hey, Angela, how you doing? Cucaracha, cucaracha, cucaracha. Oh, Lord. Yeah, cook is an English word, Germanic in origin, I believe, but not Latin. But anyway, guys, I don't know what the Latin word for cook is. Maybe some of you guys know what the Spanish word for cook is. I know what the word for cockroach is, cucaracha. So there you go, guys. Cause for insects, crickets, cricket crackers. There you are, cricket crackers coming to a shelf near you. You'll be eating them before you know it. What I always tell you guys, don't eat the processed foods. They're terrible for you. Alexis is an open microphone in your home. You can hear many rooms away at all times. Yes, how you pronounce your name? Nashoba? I'll just have water. There you go, Michelle. Smart move. There you go, cucaracha chips. Cucaracha chips coming to a shelf near you. Cricket chips, cucaracha, cricket crackers, and cucaracha chips. And they want to do it just to get you used to it. This is what some scientists are calling for. Make it mainstream in the Western diet. Because they're so against beef, because cow farts are going to destroy the world. I just showed you how, in my last presentation, how cattle actually reduce both CO2 and carbon dioxide. They actually reduce it. They don't add to it. New study, at least from the wetlands, that's the case. So all this case against beef is a bunch of bull malarkey. Anywho, earthquake news. Man, the Puerto Ricans are dancing hard tonight. Look down there. Alaska's been shaking and baking in the usual areas where it's a quaking. Dianek, Alaska, 3.0. Happy Valley. Now, there's a place to be. Happy Valley, 2.7. In the Panhandle. Hey, Robert Hodge, for a gallon of gas. Thank you, sir, for the gas money. I'm going to need a lot of it when I start driving out to Arizona. All right, let's look. Here in the islands, we got a fair size one, the 4.6 on Adak, Alaska, which was the site of the only place that the Japanese invaded. Only place, only American soil that's been invaded in 100 years, except for what's coming across our border. Well, we don't see the ginormous ones tonight. Papua New Guinea got a 4.4. I don't see any fivers. 4.6 in Japan there. All right, so we're kind of quiet on the quakey front. Chile got one, and so's Argentina, 4.7. 4.1 in Argentina, Baracas. Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Europe is quiet. Iceland's quiet. Turkey, Afghanistan, all this area is quiet on the earthquake map tonight. I guess that's a good thing. But we have these here, which are adjacent to or on the San Andreas Faults. There's actually two of them here, one on top of the other. I got this in Gyres, California. We see Gyres pop up a lot. And then we got these out here in the Juan de Fuca Plate, Bandon, Oregon, 179 kilometers northwest of Bandon, Oregon, 2.7. That plate is, I hope it's not building up for a big subduction zone earthquake. We know it's going to happen, and we're getting due for it. They happen with a pretty regular periodicity, and we're up top of that. Space weather. Let's have a licky sit the sun. How can we have sunspots? We're supposed to be in the minimum, the big eddy minimum. Yet the sun is spotty as all get out. Some pretty good ones there too, especially in the southern hemisphere. And look at this group coming around here. 3685. That's as big as 3664 was when it started swinging around. I think that's actually a little bigger than 3664 was when it started swinging around. It grew like crazy. Let's hope this one don't grow. But we don't know. We'll have to see what's in store. Now, here's an article, scientific article on a major solar eruptive event in July of 2012. Some people think, well, the Carrington events rarely ever happen. You know, the Mayans thought 2012 was going to be doomsday, according to some sources. The world wasn't going to make it through 2012. And maybe we had a close call. Maybe they were almost right. Maybe in some other dimension of time, that prophecy came true. I do believe we live in a multiverse. But if you look at the fill strength of these volcanoes, well, not volcanoes, these these coronal mass ejections and the storms they kick up. Let's see here. I got to find this. We had a near miss in 23rd of July, 2012. It was a sunspot 1520. The time's what they called that one. And let's see, where's the Carrington event at? Trying to get a comparison here. It's in there somewhere. The Carrington event, let's see. I think it was about a minus 500 nanoteslas, but I'm trying to confirm that on here. Or maybe it was 800. Let's see the key sort. I read it in this article here. Bear with me a minute. Anyway, this storm that occurred in 2012 had an estimated strength of negative 1,182 nanoteslas. It was far more powerful than the Carrington event. And we just missed it by a few days in the orbit of Earth. It was a close call. We just missed this major solar event. Our civilization could have been wiped out in 2012 had Earth not been just a little bit ahead in its orbit. Imagine that. That's why I told you guys to consider these last solar storms to be a warning shot. It's a reason to be aware. We're coming up towards solar maximum. This is something people need to consider and pay attention to. Very serious attention. We could lose our grid. You need to contact the powers that be in your grid companies and in the Congress critters. Go to the Freedom Restoration site again. You can also check out Mike Maybe's website. Go find my videos with him and look for the links to his website. He's got tons of information on there about what you can do. Also, Secure the Grid website, or the website for the that Dr. Peter Vincent Price started out, the Homeland Security website. All right, guys, weather. We've had some severe tornadoes in southern Texas. Downtown Houston was hit by tornadoes, and it had huge power outages. Something like 6 to 8 million people lost power. The Truman Show only of people their propaganda. So, before we go into weather, this concludes the news portion of this show. We've lasted for 60 minutes just covering news and views about news. Me talking about the robotics. That was the views part. So, before we go for that, I was going to. Robert Hodges, politicians still do not know what an AMP is to vote. These guys think that remember the congressman that thought that that Guam would capsize with put too many troops in the base on one side, it would just capsize. Congress critters are not the brightest light on the Christmas tree, trust me. They really aren't. And entertainers, even less so. Yet people listen to entertainers. They'll use entertainers as the spokesperson to carry authority because people recognize them. Oh, that's so-and-so said such and such. Well, they're about as dumb as a bag of hammers. What do they know? Nothing. And I get a kick. A lot of the journalists writing articles are supposed to be science reporters and journalists, and they really botch it. They really botch their articles. I say all kind of errors. It's sad. And the ones covering wars and politics, they do the same thing. They botch the articles. Not only do their prejudices come through, but they just get stuff technically wrong because they don't understand the fundamentals. V equals IR, voltage equals current times resistance, things like that. They don't know the basics. They couldn't tell you that an amp is a unit of measure of current based on charge moving. So I'm going to go check my chat room to give credit to those that have, not my chat room, my PayPal, to give credit to those that have donated through there tonight. Awesome. Awesome. We've had 3 awesome donations tonight through my website, Green Greg's, the donate button there, and which goes through PayPal. 3 awesome super chats. Michelle Young was first, $10. Thank you, Michelle. She gives every time we come on here. Bless her heart. And New Days, $25 for New Days. Salute New Days. You gave one in the chat room too. So double salute to New Days. And Kim Possible, $25 from Kim Possible. Salute to Kim Possible. Thank you, one and all. That is awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Yeah, I mentioned those rocket tests, Brenda. The fact that they filed NOTAMs suggests that it's not an actual attack. It is a test, but it's not just a test. You don't go out to off the shore of a major U.S. naval center like we've got in San Diego just to conduct tests because you think that's the best place to conduct tests. That is a warning shot to America from Russia. That is, it may be propaganda, but it's showing what their capabilities are. It's not. And they're doing it in plain sight, right there where we can see everything. That's a warning shot. For what it is or is not worth, that's a warning shot. A lot of our politicians come from a very shallow gene pool. Well, what I say, a politician, they practice politics. What's politics? Meaning bloodsuckers. And it fits. Orwell 2084. Hey, all limit current drop voltage via the resistors. Yep. When current goes through the resistor, you get a voltage drop across that resistor. If you got a 100-volt battery and a 10 ohm resistor, your current, you're going to drop the entire voltage across that. If that's all that's in that circuit, that voltage will entirely drop across that resistor. You get more resistors in there, that you'll have voltage division if they're in series. But the current's going to be the same. And that current will be 10 ounce. I have interviewed people and put that question in front of them. They're supposed to be engineers putting in for a job in avionics system safety. And they couldn't figure that out. So this was like high school stuff, not engineering. Wow. You gotta be kidding me. I would say more, but probably get in trouble. Lord of mercy, I swear, guys. Diodes, they got, their own voltage drop, depending on what kind of diode they are. Bear is poking back. Yeah, that's what that is. Bear is poking back. A little bit. A little bit. They could poke harder. That was the whole point of it. Warning shot. 9 volts left, huh, David? Well, yeah, depends on how much current's going through that resistor. Well, you're going to get lost in the wire too. A wire is also, it's a conductor, but it's also a resistor, just with less ohms. So, but you're going to have, if you put several, 10 ohm resistors in the circuit, you're going to have a voltage drop that's equally divided between them if they're all the same resistance. So I got a question for you guys. Ohm is the unit of resistance. Mho is the unit of conductance. So why is it the yogis can't fly? Those yogis that are home, they're supposed to be flying. How come a yogi, here's a good electrical engineering joke. How come the yogis can't fly? Let's see if anybody can get this. How come the yogis can't fly? I'll leave that to let y'all figure it out as we go. How come the yogis can't fly? I don't see any attempted guesses yet. Give up. How come the yogis can't fly? I'm not seeing any shots at it. Nobody's taking a shot at it. How come the yogis can't fly? Got to answer. During a CME, would a small person microgrid be more likely to survive the EMP? Probably during a CME, a smaller grid would have a better chance because the E3 waveforms are a long waveform. The longer conductors pick it up, the shorter your wires are, the less chance you got of getting it. All right. Wrong Hertz. That's close, Alamara Jensen. That's close. Wrong Hertz. That's real close. Well, they're sitting there going, they're too resistive. They're going, they should be saying mo. They said mo, maybe they'd be more conductive. They might fly then. They're just too resistive. That's the problem with the yogis. Sitting there going, resistance. I hope y'all got a kick out of that. I don't know. That's a corny electrical engineering joke that I made up. Got a few other corny jokes I've made up. But anyway, yeehaw, I will save them for another time. All right, let's go through the chat room. This man has no clue. Well, now you got the answer. You think that's funny, huh? Well, I hope it's funny. They're just too resistive. They tell you not to be resistive all the time, and they sit around and chat on. Ah! Ah! All right, Elma Jess, that's good. You and Nash Oba. Killer Smurf thought it was funny. All righty, let's check see what you guys are saying. David Pollard. Villa Resisticana. Yeah, I believe that's where they're at. Rodney shared the Survival Tribe Network. Very good. You guys need to be getting involved in that. Survival Tribe Network. What's the name of the seed place? Not Eden Brothers, but the other one. It is. Hope somebody posted a link. Oh, there it is. True Leaf Market. Thank you, New Day. She posted a link. Use my link. If you use my link, I'll get a little commission for it. Won't cost you a penny more. Use my link to it, and I usually post the links in my chat in the in the pin note to the chats that occur after a video post, and in the show notes that I post, inside the video. But thank you, New Days, for responding with that link. Now, if you go, so some affiliate marketing arrangements are you got to use a specific link, and that's true for Eden Brothers. That's true for True Leaf Market. If you and prepwithgreg.com is a specific link for my Patron Supply. Use the link, that helps me. Now, if there are other websites that don't have those links, then they use coupon codes. Defy the Grid is a coupon code type arrangement. And if you use the coupon code, if you go to Defy the Grid, the coupon code Green Gregs gets you 1% off. And if you use Green Gregs, I get 1%. It's not a lot, but they keep their margins extremely tiny there. They told me their margins were like 3 or 4%. The profit margin. That's how they offer you that deal. If you can find a better deal elsewhere, they'll meet it or beat it. That's how they can do that. Now there are other vendors of precious metals that have approached me and sent me email wanting me to get involved with them. I can make a lot more money with some of them. Oh yeah, they offer a real good percentage. You see a lot of the other YouTubers out there promoting them to the nth degree. But it's kind of hard to beat somebody that says, "Hey, if you find a better deal, we'll meet it or beat it." How do you beat that? Anyway, once he has a peace treaty, well, if there's a peace treaty, at least things stop for a little bit, and that would be more advantageous to Ukraine, which is basically exhausted at this point. It would be, and Ukraine will still be there. There's still a buffer. So if Russia wants to move, they still got to move through the same places that had to move to earlier. Right now, they got a momentum, and they managed to mass up 500,000 troops on the border. How long will they sustain that if they're not in combat? So, and it would give Europe more time to shore up their defenses, which Europe is really behind on. So I think it'd be advantageous to security overall if a peace treaty were signed. It could stop the carnage on both sides. The carnage is off the charts. It may be bluffing. Well, so are we, Rodney. Deception is a key part of the art of war, and bluffing is a piece of deception. Dave Potter says, "Don't nuke until I get here." There you go. Yes, China will eventually backstab Russia, and Russia knows that. That's why, before this invasion ever took place, for years on this channel, on my Green Griggs channel, excuse me, I was saying the United States needs to negotiate a peace treaty with Russia to form an alliance with them against China. China is the biggest enemy of both Russia and America. Well, we had to go poking a bear. Well, we're poking a bear before he went into Ukraine, by the way. Rodney says, of course, they are like, where do you think all this book stuff? Exactly. Comes from commies, of course. Thank you for sharing the Goldbacks link there, New Days, and to Michelle for sharing the link to my website with the donate button. Chinese can't help it. They're upside down. Well, Taiwan seems to have the right flavor on things, and Hong Kong did until they got overrun. So there's another thing. China signed a treaty with United Kingdom before the United Kingdom turned Hong Kong over, and they said they would respect the separate system in Hong Kong for at least 50 years. They let them be for 50 years. How long did it take before they overran them? A lot shorter than 50 years. What, 10, 20 years? Yeah, it didn't last long. China signed the Law of the Sea Treaty, the UNCLOS Treaty, and they do not respect it one iota. They just go claiming territory wherever they want, as much as they can grab, wherever they want, irrespective of all the treaties who based treaties? Just the Western countries. We're the only ones that obey treaties. Communist nations have never been big on that, especially China. So go figure that. So if China's about to put a base on the moon, are they going to honor the 1967 Outer Space Treaty? Does Russia honor the 1967 Space Treaty, which bans nuclear weapons in space? And what good's a treaty? Zero. We ought to just leave it. Nobody's obeying it but us. And we're tying our hands because we signed this treaty that nobody else will obey. Advocate it. Get rid of it. It's a useless piece of junk anyway. Serenity Seal. Well, that's an interesting name. Look at the censorship Canada just passed. They come after you for things you said years ago. Yeah, I talked about that in the video, and this platform did not like that. Ooh. Come after you for things you said years ago, even stuff you posted on Facebook years ago. Y'all think that's good? Cycle rope thing sounds good. Red Lemur, how you doing? CDD 30-year emergency RN. And I got fired for not, I almost got fired for that. Fortunately, my company allowed me to take a religious exemption. Guys on the government side weren't so lucky. A lot of people didn't get to do that. Wood chipper. Hell am I just a wood chipper? Now you're making me think of the movie Fargo. Thank you, Rodney, for calling for the thumbs up. All is on. Yeah, thank you, all the sun. You're all the sun. I'm all is on. If I was Russian, I'd be Grigory Olazov. I had a Russian name tag written in Cyrillic. I don't know where it is. Somewhere I got a picture of it. I did have one. I went to Russia and I sat at a table meeting with Russian space officials. Been there, done that, March 2010. Also went to their company called Inky. Yeah, Inky. I'm sure Rex Baird would get a kick out of that one. Inky. They are the company that, they spun off from Roscosmos. I met at Roscosmos. Roscosmos, their buildings were dilapidated. It reminded me of the old worn out cell barns I went to when I was a kid, not the more modern ones that were built later. Jeez, those buildings were dilapidated, wore out. But I've sat at the table with the Russian space officials. But Inky is a company that developed the Venetian lander. They landed a lander on Venus that transmitted for 90 minutes? Venus The heat on the surface of Venus is like the point of a soldering iron, or 800 degrees Fahrenheit. You could have rivers of molten lead on Venus. Yeah. And the pressure there is what, 90 to 100 times greater than atmospheric pressure on Earth. I mean, how you build something that don't get crushed by the air pressure and immediately baked by those hot temperatures. The fact that they actually landed probes that transmitted pictures is amazing. Nobody else has been able to do that. Scammers are using AI replicating voice and face on phones, ordering dollars from us. Yeah, that's the big risk we're on now. Technology extenuation, I don't know what that is, by a gazillion paper cuts. Yeah, we're getting those paper cuts. A little bit by a little bit, like boiling a frog. Living off grid, yeah, new days, that does sound a whole lot better now. Mow my lawn, says Sasquatch Moon. Yo, robot, go mow my lawn. Yeah, $16,000 just on the face of it. That sounds like a good deal. You can't hire somebody to work for you for a year for that. And then you got all the problems dealing with somebody you hire. And what's the bill for fixing that robot when it breaks down? Probably more than the cost of the robot. It's like these printers you buy. The printers are cheap, but the ink cartridges cost you an arm and a leg. Maybe like that. How well does it fly the plane when the grid goes down? Oh, there's a good one. The grid goes down, there ain't no connection to AI. You know, somehow your device didn't get fried, it ain't going to have the AI backing it up, not what's on the server, which that would be the better thing. Red that's what a lot of people fear, robots being the death of us. I think AI is overrated. I've talked about that in the past. I really think AI is highly overrated. I don't believe it'll ever be sentient. You want me to explain that again? I can, but I'd rather have you watch some older videos on that topic, or maybe I'll bring it up in the future. If you really want me to explain that tonight, I will. But to the uninitiated, including some of the AI programmers, they think it already is. So, tisk tisk. Startle Mouse is kind of sick of the idea of robotics, so let's lie. Oh, maybe it's the bug is what she was showing the puking emoji over. Anything to defile us, says Red Lemur. Bingo. H. Legos finally lost it. Oh, how did I lose it there, H. Lemurs? What did I say that made you say I lost it? We got cola in the house. Cola? Oh, Colorado Gin. Yeah, Colorado Gin. Not C-O-L-A, it's C-O-L-O. Cola. La 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 Lola. Ka 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 Kamala. See my Kamala short video on this channel. I did to the tune of Lola. You know, la 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 Lola. Ka 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 Kamala. Everyday food items with Z bugs. Ew. So it's already getting there, honey days. Don't be eating processed foods, guys. Just don't even eat them anymore. Because you get a lot of chemicals, a lot of other nasty stuff you don't need. Grow your own food. Become self-reliant as you can. Jesse's in the house. Yeah, we did dodge a bullet. Yes, that was, they're thinking it was more powerful than the Carrington event. Yeah, I'm going to be getting some solar panels. If I can scare up a few pennies to buy them. What cost is the batteries? Hey, Cowboy Roy Rogers is in the house. Oh, my chat room is jumping around on me. Hey, Roy. Cowboy Roy. Seek and destroy, Cowboy Roy. Even Nurse Prepper. Hi, Marie. How you doing? At the bottom of the chat. Yeah, we were demonic designs and AI. Thanks to our Heavenly Father, it can still be used for good and righteous works. Yeah, so far. It's a tool. You know, in Revelations, the anti-X, let's call him Antichrist, the Antichrist creates a figure and makes it talk. And that figure tells people to worship him, worship Lucifer, like a robot. Now, what they call them in the Hebrew tradition, especially those that do what's that nasty practice that some of them are into these days? What do you call that? It's spirit washing or something like that. It's they use blood and body fluids and all kind of nasty stuff, and they try to make these figures out of mud, and they think they're going to bring them alive. Yeah, I think the word for that is golem. So this may be like the ultimate golem, but it's maybe a robot with AI. We already got talking robots. I thought it was interesting when the Star Wars trilogy, first ones come out, then they go back in time. You discovered C-3PO was actually created by none other than the childhood version of Darth Vader. What was he? A golem, a talking robot. Not only that, he was a speech protocol robot. Speech was his specialty. Languages. That struck me a whole lot like Revelations. I don't know. I thought that was a weird analogy, and I thought it was purposeful. I don't know, guys. AI, fallen angel intelligence. That may well be. So, all right, we got 86 in the chat room. It is now 4:23. We've been on board here for 86 minutes. We got a late start tonight. I think we've gone far enough for one night. We've had some chat here. We've talked among ourselves. We've talked about the robotics that China's coming up with. We've talked about a lot of things tonight. We could go more into the weather. Oh yeah, we should do that. Let me go back to the weather just since we got tornadoes in Texas. These storms are coming across now Louisiana and Mississippi. They'll go for it. Let's play this word a little bit, see what we got coming. This current time. South Alabama, big time. Friday. Still Friday. Up in South Carolina, North Carolina, Saturday in the morning. More storms popping up in the Gulf Coast. Alabama, Saturday. I got a decoration to go to on Saturday. It's not going to be storming when we're out there. Nebraska, Iowa, Nebraska, and Kansas, up into Iowa, Minnesota Monday. And Wisconsin later. Sunday, Monday, I guess. Missouri, Tuesday. More. Well, that thing just keeps cooking it up in Nebraska and Kansas and spreading. Now we got Oklahoma big Wednesday. Big storms in eastern Oklahoma Wednesday and western Arkansas. Central Texas Wednesday of next week on the 22nd. And more coming out of eastern Texas. Oklahoma Thursday next week. Oh, Oklahoma's heavy Thursday evening. Into Kansas, Michelle Young. It's a little bit below you. Hopefully it stays below you. New Madrid area on a Friday early evening. Out into Kentucky. later Friday. All right, we're over a week in the future. That's probably as far as we can go with any degree here of anything. A lot of times I like to go around the world and look at the weather everywhere. I think we'll skip it tonight because it is so late. Stop the share. Hello. Anybody say anything else in the chat room? Although we got more people joining us. Got 92 in the house. So glad you're able to join us. Cowboy Roy probably getting ready to get up and drive his truck. He'd catch my nap still. All righty, folks. We got crazy times ahead of us. Crazy times. The world is got a real big dark overtone to it. And how do you deal with darkness? Well, the same way light sheds darkness, love sheds hate. We need to shine, love light in the world. There's also some things we talked about in here that had to do with certain groups. Contact your congresscutters. Use freedomrestorationfoundation.org Action Center tab. Scroll the bottom. All righty, folks. Thank you, Super Chatters. Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Thank you, mods, for sharing all the links and keeping the channel clean. Well, when we first started out over on Green Greg's, trolls used to attack in droves. I think they know better. You guys aren't going to let it go very far. You're not seeing much of that of late. So don't seem to be a targeted channel by those guys, but who knows? They could pop up anytime, but we got enough good mods here to take care of that business. Good morning, everyone. God bless you. Yes, Jerry. All righty, folks. So once again, thank you, Super Chatters. Thank you, mods. Thank you, everyone, for watching. To one and all, a good night, good day, wherever you are.